Hi guys, welcome back. I am here once again with everybody's favourite Scouser. It's Nipper. How you doing?
Hello. Yeah, I'm not doing too bad, thanks. It was fun to be on last time, and I was glad not to get too much grief in the comment section. So I'm back to do it all again.
I think you went down an absolute storm. Now, obviously, there's a very special reason why I've picked you for this, because it's an England team special, and I know that you are the world's #1 fan of the good old England team.
Yes.
I mean, it is pretty much the reason that I thought you would be perfect for this, because you're not a sycophant of the English game, and I think you can do it with a very sort of straight head on. What do you think?
I'll try to do my best. Yes, I'll try to do my best.
I think there might be some scorn being poured over certain players we're gonna talk about today. But let's get into what we actually are doing. What we're doing today is we are picking the best England team we can, only using players that have played in MLS. Now, the rules are we don't pick them as they were in MLS. We pick them at the peak of their careers. So we get them at their peak. As long as they've played at least one game in MLS, we can take them and we get them at their peaks. We're going to make the best England team we possibly can using those rules. How easy or hard did you find this, Nip?
I'm not going to lie, Tom. Certain positions, there was just absolute shoo-ins that you just knew, like the stars of the global.
So obvious. I think there's four at least that are just nailed on.
Absolutely. And then there are other ones where I'm not going to lie, I panicked. I think I pulled together at the peak of their powers a team that could, it could be dangerous. It could do a job.
Yeah,
but there are obvious weak links.
Yeah, there's definite obvious weaknesses, which we'll come on to, and possibly the reasons around that as well. Because I think there are reasons why we are so weak in certain areas. But I think, the main aim is we're going to try and get a team who would beat the 2016 Euros team that got knocked out by Iceland.
Oh, in that case, yeah, I've done it. I've cracked it. As long as it's not happened by Hodgson, we're fine.
Right, let's get into it. We're going to start from the front. So give me your striker #1.
So I'm just a little bit of background. I've done a standard 4-4-2, so I don't know.
Same, but it might need some tweaking. But we'll go with that for now.
So striker #1, I'm just going to go for Mr. Obvious to start with. I've gone for Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney, yep. I mean, that's it. R9, a different kind of R9. We're having Rooney up top. That is pretty obvious, I think. At the peak of his powers, very, very, very good player. Pretty good for England in spells. I think he had some very, very good times. Played for England way too long, in my opinion. But yeah, I think an obvious pick, I think.
Yeah, a very obvious pick. I think you're right. He did play for England too long. Despite that, he does have a solid goal scoring record for clubs and country. I think he's still Man United's record goal scorer, isn't he? So
is he really? Wow.
Yeah. So in the Premier League era, anyway. And yeah, he's got a solid record for England. So yeah, I think he's just an absolute shoe in there.
Yeah, no argument here on that front as well. He could even do a player manager job as well, thinking about it, because he's done the management in MLS as well. So, yeah, I think that's a really good choice. He did surprise me actually with how good he was in the management space. Actually, I think he was better than a lot of people thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And bringing it back to MLS, his time in MLS was, brief, fair enough, but not without its own highlights reel. So,
absolutely. And I have to say, yeah, I mean, we've said this before. We're not the biggest fans of the Red Club in Manchester, but for Wayne Rooney's time in MLS, you could do nothing but go, blimey, that's good. He was just so standout. And a couple of flashpoint games were just amazing. Good. So up front, we have Rooney so far.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go next on this one. For the second striker, it was between 3, and one of them was kind of sentimental. So really, it was between 2. I'll give you the 2, and I'll give you the one that I picked out of it.
Okay.
It's Jermaine Defoe versus Bradley Wright-Phillips. And I've gone in the end for Defoe. because I think he's superior at the peak of his powers.
I've also gone for Defoe. If we were doing a team of English players to perform the best in MLS, then Bradley Wright-Phillips, he's the shoe-in.
Absolutely right. Yeah,
and there's no doubt about that.
Enormous haul of goals. He's got almost a 1-2 record in MLS. He was incredible, and he played well over 200 games. So huge record, massive haul.
Yeah, just that absolutely is a superstar for the Red Bulls. But if we're talking about the best players at the peak of their powers, Jermaine Defoe takes it.
Yeah, I think actually a Rooney Defoe up front partnership wouldn't be that bad. Actually, I think that could work really nicely.
It's not the tallest, so there's not going to be too many headers.
There's not many headers going in.
Yeah, I mean, if you kept it around about knee height, you'd be fine. But Defoe, he was, he moved around a fair bit, but probably best known for his time in England for Tottenham.
Yeah, absolutely,
fantastic striker. I think I made a little note, some stats. So 227 goals in 624 games at club level, and 20 goals for England as well. So
fantastic, and at quite a high level there, I'd have to say as well.
Absolutely.
My sentimental one was the most recent transfer of Billy Sharp. Just thought it'd be nice to have him in there, maybe on the bench.
I still don't think that you could, even with the most sentimentality, you couldn't supplant Jermaine Defoe, really, could you?
No, I don't think so. Bradley Wright-Phillips, maybe. You could argue one of the ways there. But did Bradley Wright-Phillips play for England? Did he ever get some caps? No.
Although, fun story, apparently, when I think I heard somewhere when Man City bought Sean and Bradley, they actually wanted Bradley, and Sean just was one of the things. He came along with the deal, effectively.
It's the make weight, is it?
And he ended up having the better career at the club. So there you go.
That is interesting. Yeah, never knew that. Right, we've got our two strikers. That's a good start. Start us off with a midfielder.
Well, since I'm going 4-4-2, I'm going to take the obvious choice again. I'm going to go right wing. It can only be one man. No, it's David Beckham. It's David Beckham. He's if you're talking peak of powers, I mean, he's literally he is a global superstar. You know, he's won league titles in 4 different countries. England captain, poster boy, fashion icon. Couldn't stand him for most of his career, but anyway, that's besides the point.
So yeah, he was one of the ones actually during a lot of his career, not the early days, but as time went on, especially when he left Man U for a club that I don't particularly like either, Real Madrid, to be honest, but all had this sort of actually this begrudging respect, and actually I can't help but actually like a lot of the things you do, a lot of the things you say, a lot of the things you're standing for. Yeah, just it's hard to dislike, I think.
I think that was something that we kind of touched on in the last video that I was on. It's like, obviously he did play the start of his career at a club that neither of us like. But then, you did kind of have this grudging respect for him, and especially because you heard for ages that he wanted to play centrally. And you were thinking, nah. And he actually started when he went to continental Europe and started playing centrally a bit more. You were like, oh, okay, yeah, you are actually really good. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I think a footballing icon, real Hall of Famer. He's going to be in that team. He's probably the first name on the team sheet if you're just putting it straight out there. So
probably captain as well.
He probably is captain as well. Yeah, absolutely. There's 2 others that are relatively obvious, and I'm going to leave one for you, which I think you might know. So I'm going to go for Frank Lampard as the next name in the midfield.
I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. He'd have to be in there. Not someone I'm particularly fond of personally, but you can't argue with his contribution. I think he's the record goal scorer in the Premier League for a midfielder.
Yes.
So, he's certainly got the numbers to back up his ability.
Yeah, and did decently for England as well. Scored a lot, made a lot. was very influential, and obviously it was a perennial thing of underachieving at that time. I think with his era of England team did underachieve, but I think you can't argue with his quality overall. And like I say, I think I was more of a fan with him of him when he was playing than when he stopped playing.
Yeah, that is true, but I was a big fan of his interpretation of management, especially when he started managing Everton. I love that. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, of course. As a Red Scouse, I mean that's a special treat for you.
It was.
But there was, I mean, it was I think I heard this later on. I won't go into too much detail because this is obviously a channel watched 80% by Americans. He did have an episode or a reported episode around 9/11, which didn't paint him in the most glowing light, shall we say.
Indeed, yes. I think there was 3 people involved in that. If I remember correctly, and I hope I'm not slandering anyone, it might have been allegedly Lampard, John Terry, and Jody Morris.
I would have said the first 2. I wouldn't have been able to get the third. So,
if it wasn't you, Jody, I profusely apologise.
But anyway, yeah, really went down in my estimation after hearing that. Yeah. But again, reportedly, I don't know if it's been proven or. Anyway, let's move on. Who's your next player, Nip?
You mentioned before England in the Lampard's time did terribly underachieve, and part of that was because the 2 central midfielders couldn't find a way to play together. So I think they've got to both be in our team.
Absolutely, yeah.
The next player is the best midfielder out of the 2 by a country mile, Steven Gerrard.
I'd expect nothing less from you. It's so great. I love that debate. The Gerrard Lampard debate is, if you ask anybody even related to Chelsea, they'll go, it's not even an argument. His record's so much better. And then if you ask anybody to do with Liverpool, they're like, not even an argument. Gerrard's so much better. So neither one thinks the other one has even got a point. It's like
the thing is, in terms of silverware, Lampard is superior. So if you're asking who the most successful is, it's Lampard. If you say who's got the most goals, it's Lampard. That's fine. If you're answering the question, who's the better footballer, then the answer's Gerrard.
Yeah, I would say he's a better captain as well.
Yeah,
better team player.
I very did nearly use a cheat with him in this team for reasons I'll go into later. But the reason I'd say he's a better footballer, sorry for digress for people who aren't interested, but he made his debut at right back. He played a lot of his career in central midfield. He played right wing for a season, scored over 20 goals. He then moved to attacking central midfield and then finished his career in defensive midfield. He could play all of those places.
Versatility, yeah.
And play them well. So,
yeah, without giving too much away, I think we might struggle at right back. So the next spot, I mean, we've filled 3 of the 4 midfield spots. And while I'm tempted to just go with 3 in midfield, we ain't getting it from defence. So I think where it's going to have to go, again, I'm a bit torn. And I think I've maybe got 3 different choices I could finish this midfield with, and I'll take your input on it as well. The 3 that I've got, and this again, I've classed Darren Huckabee as a midfielder in this.
Yeah,
some would say he was a striker. So there's a bit of a okay. So I was like him or Nigel Reo-Coker. And then again, for obvious reasons and biases, Jack Harrison, who hasn't actually played for England yet, but might do, but probably not now he's moved to Everton, actually. What do you reckon?
Well, I had similar choices, to be perfectly honest with you, but out of them, only one name really stood out, and I could only really go with one of them. And I was dead set on it. It's Darren Huckabee.
Darren Huckabee, brilliant. That was my first choice as well. I think that he was a great player. I mean, he was I remember him, from watching Leeds back in the 90s and seeing fantastic the pace on him. Could find the back of the net, scored a decent amount of goals. Was never setting the world alight, but
he was one of those players who could be wildly inconsistent and look like he wasn't bothered at all for about 5, maybe even a dozen games. And then out of nowhere, he just tears someone apart. He just had that about him.
Absolutely. I think, maybe the Nigel Rio-Coker. Nigel's on the a lot of the US coverage over on Apple TV. So I think he was kind of in my head from that. And he wasn't a bad player, was he?
No. Full confession, I very nearly put Rio-Coker in instead of Lampard for my own personal life.
I love the pettiness. It's brilliant. Fantastic. Okay, well, I'm pleased there. We've come to the right conclusion there, I think. So we've got our first 6 players, which is actually pretty good, but I think that's the easy bit done.
Yeah, I think you've left me now with an absolute hospital pass, haven't you?
Well, you can do anyone out of defence, so a centre back, right back, or left back.
Well, because I started off doing the midfield with the right wing, I think I have to go right back. I have to.
Ooh, good, because I'm struggling there.
And yeah, I'm not going to lie. This one was almost impossible, and I did nearly shoehorn Gerrard in at right back. I could have put Rio-Coker in midfield again.
Yes, yeah.
Have the ballast there. Honestly, I'm slightly ashamed of myself for my pick, but I've gone for it. So what are you going to do? I've gone for Tyrone Mears.
Have you? I did think about it, and he's the only pure right back, English right back that I can see that is in this MLS list.
Yeah,
and I mean, it wasn't a good player.
No, I mean he wasn't terrible.
No, I mean, yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, you're thinking England is just not.
No. He was definitely someone you'd expect to see turning out for a club at the bottom half of the league.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But he's not the last one we're going to talk about who would be dwelling in the bottom half of the league.
No. But again, if we're bringing this back to MLS, he did win an MLS Cup with the Sounders. So,
Fair enough, then. I didn't know that. Okay. He was in one of the Sounders teams that won a cup. Fantastic. Okay. That's fair play to him.
So if it's wrong, please don't come at me.
Moving swiftly on. I'll take our first. Oh, should I take the obvious one? Because there is one, arguably 2 actually, that could be. All right, yeah, I'm going to go more obvious. I'm going to go for Ashley Cole at left back.
Yeah,
I think that's a safe choice. Very, very high quality player at his peak. Brilliant for England, brilliant for Chelsea, Arsenal, LA Galaxy.
At his peak, comfortably the best in his position in the world. Comfortably. It wasn't even a competition. There's people who would argue at the time, maybe Roberto Carlos, but
I mean, Roberto Carlos at his peak, I would really argue, but Ashley Cole at his peak, at that time, he was the best.
He was the best. He was the best. Yeah, suspect as a person, but and we all to some
degree. Again.
I'm
going to get so much trouble.
Well, there's one story that always comes to mind when it comes to Ashley is when he was offered his new contract from Arsenal, the one that prompted his move to Chelsea. And the exact quote was that he shuddered with anger and was disgusted that he was only offered 55 grand a week.
What year was this?
2005, maybe.
That is an incredible amount of money for that time.
Yeah.
Like now, that is still a good Premier League wage.
Yeah. But
and that was a long time ago. It was nearly 20 years ago.
I'm fairly sure he went to Chelsea the year later and almost, I think, practically doubled it. So
that's insane. Wow. But I mean, you're hitting the top heights. It's going to happen, isn't it?
You want the best in the world, you got to pay big bucks.
It's a good shout. Absolutely. Right. He's in. 3 more to go. Give us a centre back, Nip.
Okay. This wasn't easy. I'm going at first centre back. I'm going for Liam Ridgewell.
Okay. Yes. He was in mine as well. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Fine centre back.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine.
Perfectly fine. Do a job. Yeah. No issues. Don't really have too much more to say about him than that.
No.
But yeah, certainly qualifies for England and was a perfectly good centre back. So
absolutely right. Yeah, you'll get no argument from me here. My next one would have been my first choice at centre back. I'm going to Steve Howie.
Oh, interesting. Nice. Okay.
It was between Steve Howie and Ryan Shawcross.
Yeah.
So
I went the other way. Probably just a bit more of kind of. It was just in my mind, probably a bit more recently than.
Yeah, there's a generation between them. But I remember Steve Howie very fondly from his Newcastle days. And I think it was a nostalgia pick as well. And I imagine playing for quite a decent Newcastle team, he must have been pretty good.
Yeah, and I would definitely defer to your pick rather than my one of Shawcross in that. Because you'd expect that time Newcastle to be a little bit of a cut above Shawcross's level Stoke.
Yes, absolutely. Although if we're playing against a South American team with some dainty players, Shawcross might be the one to go in and break them.
Yeah, but at an international level, is that really what you want? You know,
not at all. Not at all.
But yeah, I will admit, I did go for Shawcross. He was a complete panic selection. I'm not sure if he's got any honours against his name. If he has, fair play. But yeah.
I'd be surprised. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I think the only other defender that I even considered was Kieran Gibbs.
Yeah, but Kieran Gibbs is always more of a left back. He was always Ashley Cole's understudy, and I think
exactly, which is why I couldn't put him above Cole. So I was like, he wasn't sort of player who could, if you've got some fullbacks, you go, okay, you're going to move into centre back. He's not that.
No. So unfortunately, even in our teams, he's going to have to play second fiddle to Ashley.
Exactly, his story of his life. I hope he's not watching.
He'd be used to it by now, I'm sure.
Kieran Gibbs, like and subscribe, please. Support the channel. Come on, we'll have a chat.
And if you are watching Kieran, tell us why you would pick you ahead of Ashley Cole.
I love it. Yes, please. Please come on and chat that through. Oh, that's gold. Right, we've got a goalkeeper to pick.
Yes. And for me, there was only one pick. He's a vintage pick, I'll grant you. But he was the name that jumped out the most as the person who would be the most qualified to get between the sticks. Chris Woods.
Chris Woods?
Yeah, Chris Woods. He was understudy to Shilton for most of his international career, but who wasn't back then? it's no shame to be behind Peter Shilton, apart from now. But in his club career, he was at Forest when they won the league and European Cup. He's got silverware. He's got 23 appearances for the Rapids. So he qualifies, and he was very, very good.
Absolutely, and a proper vintage player, as you said. It would have been 96 Rapid side, I think, that he was so properly back in the day. And great keeper, yeah, you can't ever take that away from him. He's one of the all-time greats, I think. He's a fantastic keeper.
Absolutely.
And like I said, got a lot of accolades, and he's rightly thought of as a proper legend, I think. Did you do any other depth at goalkeeper position?
Honestly, I went through, and as soon as I saw his name, there wasn't anyone. I just completely blanked on anyone.
Well, I think they're probably very wise, but I only really saw 2 others. And you may have heard of one of them, but you haven't heard of the other one.
It's not a good start, is it?
It's not really. The one that I think you may have heard of, because he was at Chelsea, he had a loan at Leeds, which is why I know him. I can't remember where he was last season, but he's now at Burton Albion. Okay. Very tall man, Jamal Blackman.
Oh, yes. I remember his name from Leeds, actually. I remember seeing his name on the team sheet a few times.
Yeah, he broke his leg at Leeds, unfortunately. Had to go back to Chelsea, but was very much... had a lot of potential, was huge in nets, looked really, really good. And I thought I had a lot of hopes for him when he was on loan, but unfortunately, he snapped himself. The other guy, LA Galaxy keeper, Jonathan Bond.
Nope.
Yep, no, me neither. Yeah, so sure, he's a lovely keeper. Qualifies for England, so
yeah, he's
Jonathan Bond.
If we were picking a team for a tournament, you always need 3 keepers, so he's in.
Yeah. It was. I think we've got our team, which is great. Yeah. There were some names that stuck out during it as well. I mean, Danny Dicchio was a name that came up, and I thought, I mean, that would be a great bench pick, obviously, but great for QPR, wouldn't he?
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. He was someone who, again, international level, might be a bit too rough.
Yeah.
But sometimes, late on in a game, needing an equaliser or a late winner might be a good person to have, especially, as we said, you're not going to get many headers with the front 2 we've picked. So,
absolutely right. Yeah, you might need someone to come in and just nod a couple in. Who are the other sort of, just going to look at the list I've got here. Tyler Blackett was another name that stuck out to me. Terry Cook. I mean, that's a proper England player name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Going to be called Terry Cook. There was another one that was a big jump out for me. Defoe, Dicchio here. Ashley Fletcher.
Oh,
could have had in that sort of space. I mean, not a top quality player, but an okay pick as far as those things go. There was another one that I was going to. Oh, Steve Guppy.
I did consider Steve Guppy, but if I could be remembering this completely wrong. But I remember Steve Guppy being a very good technical winger, but right-hand side. I could be wrong.
Right-hand side, he's not getting a chance, is he? He's not
getting ahead of Beckham, is he?
No, he's not.
If I'm wrong on that, then he might be able to run Huckabee for his money.
If we needed someone to get the crowd going or G up the team, there is one Calvin Harris, which is a name who played for Cincinnati and Colorado.
I'm glad you brought it up because I did see that one. I was a bit confused. I'm not going to lie. I am easily confused, but that one really did get me.
Don't we know it? But again, another one from your I was going to say favorite team, but that's it's just too mean. But Paul Rideout, Everton legend there.
Yeah, Paul Rideout. I did think of Paul, and because we mentioned Bradley and Sean before.
Yeah,
I did briefly again think of Sean, but once again the problem of right-hand side, he's not getting in.
No, they weren't, were they? Again, and some more recent names actually. Ashley Westwood, obviously Billy Sharp, Sam Surridge. There was another one of the 2023 intake. All of which would have been like, okay, if we couldn't find a player there, might have got in. I can't see who the other one was now, but not bad. But Liam O'Brien was the other one, who was quite a talented player at Huddersfield, and then so I kind of lost his way a little bit. But brilliant signing. I mean, I think for Portland, and that's fantastic. He's quite a young guy too.
Good. But yeah, I did have a think about the couple of names that did jumped out at me, but I think they would have been sentimental picks more than anything. Zach Knight was the name that jumped
That
out.
night I was going to mention, actually. Yeah. There's another one that really did jump out, actually. Yeah.
And I did forget that I did see another right back whose name I did recognise. Who was Bradley Orr.
Bradley. Oh God, that's a really, really hard pull. That one.
But even though Tyrone Mears, I don't have the highest of hopes for. I mean, he's a solid professional. I don't want to do him down, but I think Tyrone still is above Bradley Orr in the pecking order in this team.
I've only just noticed. I didn't even consider him for my team, but I've just noticed for Columbus on Miami, Ian Wone.
Ooh.
Ian Wone, known for scoring a particularly brilliant goal for Forest back in the day, and I think nothing else.
Well, if you're going to be known for something.
I remember some of my peers shouting "Wone" as they volleyed a ball. Fantastic! What a dive! I'm really pleased this turned out as it did, to be honest, because it's been a lot of fun. Looking back at these names from various different eras, I think this team comfortably beats the 2016 England team.
Yeah, I think so. It certainly got the firepower, and it certainly got the star power. The only issues you're going to have, as we said before, but we've balanced them out. I think.
Yeah,
we've got. If Dan Huckabee's having an off day, then you might say the left side is weak, but then you've always got best in the world backing him up.
Yes, that's a good point. Good point. And there's the opposite way around on the right hand side.
Exactly. So Beckham, he wasn't famed for his pace. Might have to do a bit more work without Tyrone overlapping too much. But I think we'd be secure.
I think it's the centre backs when a certain international number 9's running at Liam Ridgewell and Steve Howie. I don't know how that's going to go.
Yeah.
You're hoping either one of Gerrard or Lampard is playing as a DM, a defensive midfielder in that spot, maybe a half-back or something to give him some protection.
Yeah, you expect that to probably be Gerrard's left.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, absolutely.
I have just realised some of the folly in our choices that we've decided to put on one of the best crosses of a ball that the world's ever seen for two strikers, the tallest of which is 5'9".
I'm sure Rooney got some headers in his days.
Oh yeah, he definitely did. He definitely did. But
if a defender's more than 6 foot, he's screwed.
Yeah, it's going to be problematic, isn't it? Beckham's going to have to be really accurate.
It's such a good point. We've got Huckabee cutting in from the left with decent pace. You always put a ball along the floor, can't he?
That's true. And that'd be quite dangerous. You've got Huckabee coming in. You've got Cole overlapping.
Yeah.
It works.
I reckon so.
Convinced ourselves now.
It's actually a better team than I thought initially before this chat. I think looking about it now, it's top heavy, yes, but it's not bad. It's not a terrible team.
Yeah, it's maybe we're just going to be inspired by Steve Howie and just be entertainers and just decide we're just going to beat you by scoring one more than you, no matter how many they concede.
Absolutely, yeah. Because I mean the firepower. We've got Rooney, Defoe, Huckabee, Gerrard, Lamps, and Beckham, all who can score a goal.
Absolutely.
And famed for it. So, yeah, I think, it would do all right. It would do all right.
I'm happy with it.
We can stand proud on that one. So, yeah, good. Thank you for joining me on this one, Nip. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No, it's been my pleasure. Thank you very much. And if you ever need me back again,
I absolutely will. I'll come up with a stupid idea again, and I'll go to my friend who's got the best football knowledge of the last 30 years that I can think of. So, absolute pleasure as always.
Thank you. Take care, and thank you for watching, everyone.
Take care, mate. See you later.
Bye-bye. Because in Germany, there's been a lot more Americans in that time in the 90s and early 2000s playing outfield than there were in England.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, actually, isn't it? Yeah, I wonder was it just a quality thing or a cultural thing?
I think some of the players might have got a little look in through parents on military service,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that might have been part of it. Like American soldiers posted out.
Yeah.
And then they're playing local and then just got involved and went up.
That's nuts.
Maybe there's just less snobbery on the continent about it, unlike like Americans playing footy. All right, mate.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Just go, yeah, join in. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Come and join in and play with us.
Oh, the Yankees cool. You're not still recording, are you? Oh, that's good. There has just been a oh no, that's not good.
What is it?
I thought there was rumours going around that our old chief executive, Michael Edwards, our transfer guru, was going to return to the club.
Oh, right.
But there's no. He's just launched a new advisory business with another ex-Liverpool colleague, Ian Graham, and it's working for multiple ownership clubs and multiple ownership groups and clubs. Just an advisory company called Ludonautics.
That's a really boring name for a company.
It is. If you see Michael Edwards, he's quite a boring looking fella.
Move him back a bit. Oh, wow. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Oh, wow.
He's the sort of person who, you could do a photo fit of him and you just think, no, that's just generic white guy.
It looks like an English Ben Stiller.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we hired a German fella, Jörg Schmatke.
No, Jörg Schmatzer.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cause oh no, this is bad.
Quick edit break. Someone's knocking at my door. Who is it? Etta has a daddy long legs on her ceiling.
Oh. Are you going to have to deal with that, or?
Later I will, yeah.
Okay.
But not right now.